Hey guys, Bill from the GuruMeditation.org and the Westchester Amiga user group here. Thanks so much for checking out the second video in my series about the Amiga 1200. Today we're going to pull some animations off of it using the composite video out. Let's do it. Okay, just a quick recap. My buddy Pierre gave me this 1200 and he used to be an animator, so he's got all sorts of cool animations on the hard drive here. And he spent countless hours doing all these animations using mostly D-Paint. So I'm going to be doing lots of hardware modifications to this 1200, but before I start messing with any of the hardware, I'm not a total hardware expert. I'm going to be kind of feeling my way through it. But so before I start manipulating any of the hardware, I just want to make sure his animations are safe and sound. So the most basic way to get the animations off the machine that I can think of is just to use the composite video out on the back of the 1200. The 1200 has three video outputs, an RGB, composite, and RF. The RGB is the best quality, but it's designed for hooking up your monitor. If you want to record the output, it's really tricky and requires some special equipment that I don't have here. It's beyond the scope of this video. Maybe one day I'll do an RGB episode, we'll see. The composite and RF outputs are basically like having an A520 adapter from the Amiga 500 built into the machine, which is really neat. If you remember from the 500, it only had a black and white composite output, which was pretty much useless. Now the RF output is designed for connecting old legacy TVs that have an antenna input, and the quality is really bad, so we won't be using that today. The composite output is definitely better than the RF, but still not great. The reason for that is there's a digital to analog conversion happening, and when that happens, it takes all the information and puts it onto one wire. So your Chrome information, your Luma information is all on one wire. Other formats like S-Video separate this, which give you a much better quality. So I don't have big hopes for the composite video, but let's give it a try and see how it looks. Alright, here's the basic setup. Over here on the 1200, I'm using D-Paint 4 to play back the anim file. Now it's a really simple animation of a snowman jumping, but I chose it because it's made up of single pixel lines on a solid background. This will allow us to easily see how much noise is introduced in the image, as well as how much detail is lost by looking at the edge of the lines on the solid background. So here's the 1200. The animation is actually on the external hard drive that you can see hiding out back there. That drive is also making a heck of a racket. So I can't wait until we install the compact flash hard drive. It'll be a lot quieter than that beast back there. So this is a Blackmagic design intensity shuttle. And it's designed for taking analog video and digitizing it onto your Mac or PC. There's a PC version of it too. As you can see, it's got a bunch of different analog inputs. It does have HDMI in also, which is really cool. But there's all different analog inputs here. And you can see what I was talking about before. This is the composite out coming out of the 1200. As you can see, it's just one wire. If you have something like component video over here, you can see that there's actually three wires. There's a red, a blue, and a green. And that separates the three channels into three different wires so you get much better quality. The composite out is coming out of the 1200 through this composite cable, whoop, and over to the Blackmagic intensity shuttle. Then once the signal goes into this box, it converts it from analog to digital and sends it out through a Thunderbolt cable. Thunderbolt cable comes over here to my laptop. Oh look, there's the GuruMeditation.org. It comes into the laptop over here. This laptop has got two Thunderbolt input outputs. One of them is connected to my monitor, the other one is connected to the intensity shuttle. And over here I have Adobe Premiere Creative Cloud loaded up, and I'm capturing the snowman. So here are the results of my capture. If you're interested in the tech specs, we're looking at an 8-bit 422 YUV QuickTime captured at 720 by 480. And unfortunately, overall, I'm not too happy with this quality. It just looks so much better on the Amiga's monitor with the RGB connection. If you look at the background, you can really see a lot of noise that was introduced to this image, and the snowman lacks detail and just looks fuzzy overall. The image looks way sharper and cleaner on the 1084 monitor. There are so many factors contributing to these bad results. I'm not going to go into them all. But like I said before, I think the biggest problem is having all the information on a single wire that adds the noise you see, and so much detail is lost. Now another big thing to consider here is that I shoot these episodes in 1920 by 1080 HD resolution. The Amiga output is just standard definition, so in order to get the animation to fill the full HD frame, we have to magnify it. Now when you magnify it, you lose quality. Just to give you an idea, Here's the standard definition resolution inside the HD frame with no magnification. You can see that it's sharper and cleaner, but it's really small. Here's another one of Pierre's animations. This one has a lot more color and detail. It actually doesn't look all that bad through the composite cable, but it could be better. I think what's happening here is all the extra information and color is distracting you from the lack of detail and increased noise. But what I really want to show you with this animation is another phenomenon that is happening. The output of the Amiga is interlaced video, running at 2997 frames per second, and my video is progressive video running at 23976 frames per second. Now when you are dealing with interlaced video, each frame is made up of two fields, an odd field and an even field. A light beam scans the lines to write out each frame starting with the odd lines, then goes back to the top and scans the even lines. This happens so fast your eye doesn't realize it and it appears to be one frame. A progressive frame, like my camera records, is much simpler. All the lines are scanned sequentially in one vertical sweep. When you take interlaced video and convert it to progressive, you get some really weird artifacting. Take a look at this. You can see the last field of one frame being combined with the first field of the next frame. This gives you lots of artifacts that look almost like a combing effect. Frame rate is another big issue here. The snowman animation is made up of 27 still images but lasts for almost 2 seconds. When you take 27 images and stretch them out into almost 60 frames, some frames will be doubled as well as some in-between frames added. This also contributes to that combing effect. Then you take the fact that you have 2997 video coming from the Amiga and then you're converting it down to 23978 frames per second to match my camera, and you just have a big freaking mess. So these results are just really unsatisfactory. I don't like the way the animation looks at all. There's just so much detail is lost coming through that composite cable. It's not looking good at all. It's just a shell of what the animation actually looks like on the RGB monitor. So I think I'm going to pack it in, cut my losses. I was going to do this for all the animations on the hard drive, but it's just not worth my time. It's time just to move on and use the other technique of copying the files onto the compact flash card and bringing them over to the Mac and seeing what we can do with them over there. So thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it, guys. I'm going to cut this one short and start getting ready for the next episode when we use the compact flash card adapter to bring these animations over. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.